But if I'm going to say that you guys should get up and leave your homes, it's time for me to do the same. So I got on a plane yesterday, flew for the first time since February, and I'm down here in Dallas on location from the Blaze TV studios doing the show today in the same state as my good friend Mark Meckler. Most of you know him from the Convention of States, but now he's leading an effort right now to open the states. And Mark, it's good to see you. Welcome back here to Blaze TV, radio, and podcast. How are you?
I'm very good. Welcome to the land of the free and the home of the brave. We're glad to have you here in Texas.
Always good to be here, brother. So tomorrow is a watershed day. That's my understanding, right? Tell us about it.
Look, the reason that they're able to lock us down, and my frustration, is that we consent to it. They can only do what we consent to. Tomorrow we withdraw our consent. The lockdown ends nationally. It's over. I don't care what the governors say. I don't care what the mayors say. It's over. Tomorrow is Freedom Friday, hashtag Freedom Friday. This is where we're asking every American to stand up and say, no, we're done. We're asking people who own their businesses to open those businesses, to say, we're going to open up. And we're asking all of us, you, me, everybody, to show up. And what I mean by that is starting tomorrow, we're going to go out. We're going to shop at local businesses. We're going to dine in local establishments. We're going to spend our money locally. The government's not going to do it. We're going to reopen for business.
Why tomorrow? Is there significance about tomorrow, or was it just the first day that you could possibly pull this effort together to end this once and for all?
There's a lot of significance. This is the beginning of Memorial Day weekend, and this is the time when we remember. It's not a celebration holiday. I want people to remember that. This is a time when we remember those who signed on the dotted line that they would be willing to die for the Constitution. They gave an oath of loyalty to the Constitution. And this is for the people who actually did. They paid the ultimate price. And so there is an irony that is not acceptable to me and to millions of Americans that we would cower in our homes, not exercising our First Amendment rights, not exercising our right to assemble, our right to worship, our right to travel, the things that are so fundamental that these people died for. The idea that we would sit in our homes cowering because the government tells us we can't do these things, not acceptable on Memorial Day weekend. We're going to stand in honor of those who gave all.
So put some hands and feet on this for us, Mark. What's this look like around the country? If a woman who's a frequent emailer, caller to the show, Susan in Rhode Island, if she's listening right now, right? If you're Susan in Rhode Island right now, what's this look like for somebody like her?
So here's what's really important to me. I'm sorry, I'm getting a ring here, Steve. What's really important to me is that people stand up and do their part. And what I mean by that is that they actually engage. So they're going to have to go out and participate and go out to their stores and shop at their stores. I would recommend that they write to their merchants today and say, please be open. We want to talk to you. We want to know you. We want to know you're going to be there. And we're going to come and we are going to patronize your stores. So for her, if she doesn't own a business, it's about going to openthestates.com. We've got a place where they can record a 10-second video saying, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to show up. So do that so that the authorities can see there's going to be hundreds of thousands of us all over the country doing this, and then go out and patronize those local businesses. The key is action. Like, you said it, Steve. People complain, we moan, we bitch about what's going on, but we don't do anything. So this is a weekend for regular people. It's easy to take action. Just say no more, go out, patronize these businesses. That's how you become part of the movement.
We're in a position too, Mark, where right now, because I'm literally, it's like being in a Pyongyang prison. When you're in an American airport, you are subjected to CNN, and even with my earbuds on, so I can't hear it. I accidentally turned around and saw the lower third yesterday as I was waiting to board. Reopening begins in all 50 states as cases mount in 18. Just continuing to peddle as much of this panic porn as they possibly could. But the first part about that is key. There is some semblance or claimed semblance of reopening happening now in all 50 states. So this is not just, this is because our people, you know how they get, well, we got to obey the law, even though if I don't like it, right? Our people don't like to feel like they're, radicals on that level, or at least a segment of them. This is a thing now where you are, if you're like, I don't know if I can bring myself to do civil disobedience, which I'd be totally fine with. But if that's you, every state in the union right now is claiming it's doing some kind of reopening. Now, several of them don't really mean it. Okay, this blue state confederacy we talk about on the show all the time. But all 50 are claiming they're doing something. All really you're asking them then by saying go out tomorrow, open your business, go patronize other businesses. You're basically saying, hey, call the bluff of your governor. In every one of these 50 states, they're saying they're doing some form of a reopening. Okay, then we are, by all means, we're gonna test that theory then.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I don't even consider this civil disobedience. Here's the reason. First of all, most of these ordinances or these emergency orders have holes so big in them you could drive a truck through them. There's all kinds.
You mean like you can go to the Mall of America now in Minneapolis as of June 1, but you can't go to church? You mean stuff like that?
Well, yeah. And also just no, seriously, they've said things like, look, there are exceptions for mental health. All right, well, what does that mean? I need to go to the park for my mental health. I need to get my hair cut for my mental health. There are things, right. So they built exceptions into these things that are unbelievable. So you can use those. I don't think if you're against civil disobedience, you don't have to be disobedient. I also think most of these things are unconstitutional. So you have a situation where they've now imposed unconstitutional burdens on you. You're not being civilly disobedient if you follow the Constitution and not some unjust, unconstitutional law. And here's the last thing is, I'm just asking you to go shop. It's not a big deal. I'm not asking you to go out and destroy public property. I'm not asking you to go spit on police officers. We love our police.
Right. This isn't rules for radicals. Right. Exactly. Right. This is not the Saul Alinsky Foundation. Right.
No, just go do the right thing, which is just go shop, just go dine, just go out into public. Just be a free American. This is really important. This is why we call it hashtag Freedom Friday. Just go be free. That's what we're saying. This is your birthright. And people died to secure that birthright for you. And so we're going to stand up for that. It's the least we can do. People went and died. Steve, all I'm saying is go shop, go open your business. If we all do it at once, by the way, what happens is they can't do anything to us. This is a big point.
Right.
If you all do it at once, they can't come after all of us at once.
You're reinforcing something I say on this show all the time, Mark. We are not a nation of laws and never have been. We're a nation of political will and always will be. All right. The reason why one Supreme Court opinion has been called Roe v. Wade has been treated as the law of the land is because the other branches of government, right down to your local and state governments, just decided to treat it as such. Right. Right. I mean, you can make all the arguments about, structuralism and original intent and stare decisis and all that other stuff. You make all those arguments you want. But if a bunch of people decide that they're going to enforce this as the law, whether it's a legit law or not, it has the force of law. Right. And that's the same thing here. We were always going to be the ones that were going to decide how long these lockdowns lasted. As long as you were willing to stay in your home and email the Steve Deace Show because Governor Pfister or whatever his name is in Illinois is a douchebag. As long as you were willing to do that, the lockdowns were going to continue. But the minute that you grabbed your concealed carry and took your kid to the park and swung your baby princess on the swing, that's effectively when you pronounced the lockdown here is over. Come arrest me, right? That's essentially what we're saying is it's time for the American people to say, all right, we did our part. All right, we flattened the curve. In fact, we flattened it so much, we're closing hospitals all over the country. Back to work, back to being Americans. And can you guys finally protect the elderly? You told us 3 months ago that this was all about. And they're dying in droves right now in all of these nursing homes. So maybe while we do our part in getting back to being Americans, you folks over there at the CDC with all your grand plans and everything else, you can actually do what you friggin' promised us on March 10th and protect our grandparents maybe once after what we've watched the last 3 months instead of holding us in our homes instead.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's important to note is there are people who've been long doing this already, people who I think are American heroes. I spent the last few weeks on the phone, on Zoom calls with people who are standing up, who are organizing the movements around the country. In Michigan, the big group in Michigan right now is having a huge freedom festival in Newaygo, Michigan. I'm sure in some way the governor there, Governor Whitlis, would say it's against the law, but they expect to have over 1,000 people gather there, spend their money, celebrate the United States of America. There's my good friend Sarah Huff. She's in Holland, Michigan, young hairdresser, opened her studio. They threatened her. They issued a cease and desist. Yesterday, she was on the steps of the state capitol cutting hair. They cited her for being a disorderly person, for cutting hair. And so there are people who have been willing to stand up. There's Patty Miracle down in Florida. We all think Ron DeSantis, right? He's the be all and end all in regard to this. The bars in Florida on Memorial Day weekend are shut down. Imagine what that's like if you're a small bar owner, family business, this is your livelihood. You are shut down on the opening day of tourist season in Florida. And by the way, that's only if you have 51% alcohol sales. If you have 51% food sales, you're open. So these people are starving to death all over the country. And we're saying no more. It ends. The lockdown is over tomorrow morning.
Finally, one of the things that I've tried to do, kind of helping to spearhead the pushback on this for the last few months, is to practice what I preach. All right. So when I said, hey, take the initial recommendations about sanitation and social distancing from grandma and grandpa, take that stuff seriously. We did that in our home as well. When the stuff started to open up and I said, hey, you should go I would go day one. I'd go day one to a restaurant. I'd go day one to church if they open it up. We went to these places day one as soon as they opened up. And that's the reason I'm here today, is ultimately if I'm going to tell people to get out of your homes, it was time for me to get out of my home and get on a plane and say, hey, I'm going to do exactly what I asked you to do. So what's tomorrow look like for Mark Meckler? All right. What are you going to do to take part in this?
Well, first I want to say I've been doing exactly what you said. We stayed home. We socially distanced. My folks are elderly. We stayed apart from them for a while. But at some point, a few weeks in, I got on an airplane and I flew to Michigan. My daughter had all her stuff in Hillsdale College. We rented a U-Haul. We drove across the country, me and Lucy and Jacob. We stopped in gas stations. We went to the few restaurants we found that were open. So we've been in it. And by the way, Steve, I'm frustrated here in Texas with my own church. They could be open. They're not open. Celebration Church in Georgetown, great church. I'm not thrilled with Pastor Joe right now. And I expect these guys to get off the ball and get open. I'm looking for a church that'll open. But what I'm going to be doing, and honest to God, tomorrow morning, I'm going out to breakfast. I don't normally go out to breakfast. I don't normally even eat breakfast. But tomorrow morning, we're going to go out to breakfast, a local breakfast joint that's open, locally owned, and we're going to have breakfast. And then I'm going to come home and I'm going to work during the day, and then I'm going to take a break, and we're going to go out to lunch, and we're going to patronize another joint. We're going to do this all day long, and as we go into Saturday, I'm going to go shopping. I need a haircut. I'm going to go to the local salon and get a haircut. I'm going to any business that's a local business that's willing to be open. I'm going to spend the next 3 days doing that.
All right, Mark, one more time, give people around the country the information they need to either get involved with their community or see what's happening in their state.
So go to openthestates.com and check out what's going on in your own state. And it's really easy. What you want to do, if you're a person on Twitter, you should tweet out hashtag Freedom Friday, openthestates.com. Go there. But the main thing, man, just stand up and say no more. I will not consent. Go out, open your business, and go shopping, go dining out, enjoy yourself, get back to being an American, and remember what people died for this weekend, because we're going to go stand up because those people were willing to give all.
Good to see you, my friend. Take care, Mark.
God bless you, Steve. Thanks.